Hello! Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Stephanie Webb. I'm the founder of Eat Happy Nutrition. I'm a holistic nutritionist, an eating psychology coach, a PIO instructor, and a mom of 3. And I help women take the guilt and stress out of nutrition and health. And today I want to hop on here and talk about why I am anti-food tribe. What does that mean? That I don't choose any particular specific diet for myself or for my clients. So I feel like the nutrition world right now is kind of like high school. So I don't know how high school was for you. Let me tell you how it was for me. So there were all these groups, like cliques, I guess you could call them, but I think that's kind of a rude word. So I'm going to call them tribes. So we had the cheerleaders, we had the football players, the basketball players, the cross-country people, which is like, I thought in my high school, like the cool people. I wanted to be like them, even though I didn't want to run cross-country. We had the swimmers, that was me. We had the choir people, the band people, the orchestra people. So it was kind of divided up by what you did or the activities you participated in. And you had to kind of like be a certain way to get into that group, I guess. So I feel like nutrition is a lot like that these days. We have all these ways of eating and all these diets, and you have to like be this certain way to be in the club, right? So we have like the vegetarians, the vegans, the paleo people. We have macrobiotic people. We have the raw foodists. We have all sorts of different ways of eating. And then we have the actual diets, like the Weight Watchers, the South Beachers, the Zone Dieters. So we have these people who kind of like form this group. So here's the problem with that. So you've probably heard me talk about on here, or if you know me, you know that I used to follow a vegan diet, and I don't anymore. I did that for, it was about 3 years that we ate vegan. I don't like to say that I was vegan because that's like I was a certain religion or something, and it was really just a style of eating for me. But when I was following that diet, I super believed in it. And the things that converted me to that diet were the things that kind of like kept me going. And I felt like this diet was truth. And I wanted everyone to eat that way. And I kind of was judgy about people who didn't eat that way. And looking back now, I'm like embarrassed about how it was. And I like swore up and down that I would eat vegan forever for the rest of my life. And here I am years later, and I'm not eating that way anymore. So what I learned is that diet is largely a big fat experiment, and that's the way it should be. The problem with committing to one specific way of eating and saying you're going to eat that way for the rest of your life is that it doesn't always work that way physiologically for our bodies. So a lot of the things that convert us to a certain way of eating, for example, veganism, are moral things, like meat is bad. Drinking cow's milk is bad, not only for your health, but for the earth. And so it goes beyond health, and it goes into like right and wrong. And the problem with that is that if it stops working for you like it did for me, I would say veganism worked for my body for about 2 years. And for the 3rd year, it was kind of like I was like struggling to hang on to it. And finally, I just kind of in a way, I felt like I admitted defeat and I threw in the towel, but now I see that what I was actually doing was wise. I was listening to my own body wisdom and realizing that it no longer was working for me, that it's not something that was morally wrong with me or that I was making a bad choice, but that it stopped being the best choice for my body. So the problem is that when we stake a claim in a diet, it's like we're setting up camp and we're hanging our flag and we're like, we are paleo and this is how we eat, or we only eat raw food and everyone who eats raw food is good and everyone who eats cooked food is bad. And it becomes like this moral judgment. And not only is that damaging to your relationships with other people, but it's not always the best thing for your body. Often, I think diets work therapeutically, and really that means they work short term. That could mean a number of days or weeks or months or years. In my case, it was years that it worked for me, and then it didn't work for me anymore, and my body needed something different. I feel like just like we need to change it up in our lives. Like me, I love to rearrange my furniture, and it gives me like this fresh feeling of switching things up in my house. We know the benefit of switching up your exercise routine. Your body needs to be kind of like charged differently sometimes. Our diet is the same way. Sometimes it's good for us to go on a juice cleanse and eliminate a lot of stuff from our diet. Other times juice cleanses lose their effectiveness if we do them too often or for too long. Same thing with cutting out grains, for instance, or cutting out meat. Sometimes we need that. We need that cleanse. We need that switch it up, but it doesn't always work long term. And that is completely okay, which is why I don't believe that anyone should really pledge allegiance to one type of diet and say, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. But rather, I think it's healthier physically and emotionally to approach diet from a place of experimentation and really look at diet as, how can I play with this? How can I improve? What can I change up in my diet that will help my body and be therapeutic for me? And then really listen to your body and realize and recognize at what point it stops being helpful and at what point you're doing harm to your body while you're clinging on to those moral beliefs that you've developed in that diet. So that's what I think. I think we should all just play with our food and have fun with it and eat lots of different ways and try things and not become too attached to any one particular way of eating. I would love to hear about what you think about what I have said. If you want to leave a comment, even if you're not watching live, you can leave a comment down in the comment section and I'll see it. I'd love to engage with you about this and let me know what you think. And I'll be back here tomorrow with more to talk about. Have a great day.